This standard is IFRS 13 fair value measurement. In IFRS 13, they are giving guidance on measuring the fair value of the assets and liabilities. The term fair value is used in many IFRS for accounting assets and liabilities. And in some standards, fair value should be used for measuring the items both for initial measurement as well as for subsequent measurement. So IFRS 13 provides a single source of guidance which will be used across all reporting standards to measure the fair value. Okay, so wherever the standards requires fair value to be used in measuring the assets and the liabilities, whatever guidance provided in IFRS 13 will be used across all reporting standards. See, we know in many standards they are using fair value to be used in measuring the assets and liabilities. Some example is IAS 16 property, plant and equipment. These non-current assets can be shown at its revalued amount. Revalued amount means assets can be revalued to its fair value. So we need fair value. Next one, in IAS 40 investment properties. Investment properties can be shown at its fair value at every reporting date. So we need fair value. Again, in IFRS 3 business combination. In business combination, when parent is acquiring subsidiary, parent should identify the net assets of subsidiary and it should be measured at fair value at the date they are acquiring the subsidiary. So like that, in many standards we are using fair value. So IFRS 13 guidance should be taken for determining the fair value of the assets and the liabilities. Okay, we'll see the definition of IFRS 13. We'll see the definition given in IFRS 13 for fair value. Before that, the purpose of IFRS 13 is define fair value. First purpose is to define fair value. Second one is to set out a single framework for measuring fair value. Okay, IFRS 13 sets out single framework for measuring fair value. Third one, IFRS 13 specifies the disclosure requirements for fair value measurement. Okay. Yeah, before we see the definitions, the IFRS 13 do not apply to IFRS 2, share-based payments and leases, IFRS 16. It is not applicable to IFRS 2 and IFRS 16. Okay, now we will see the definition of fair value as per IFRS 13. See, fair value is defined in IFRS 13 as the price that would be received to sell an asset or the amount that will be paid to transfer a liability in an orderly transaction between market participants at the measurement date. This is the definition. Whatever amount they will be receiving when they sell the asset and whatever amount they have to pay to settle a liability, and these transactions are between market participants at the measurement date. See, this definition is based on exit price. Exit price is the price what they will be receiving for the asset sales and whatever amount they will be paying for transferring the liability. That is exit. Entry price is just opposite of this. Entry price is the price that will be paid for acquiring the asset and the amount that will be received for assuming a liability. That is entry price. Anyway, we don't want entry price. This definition, whatever they are given in IFRS 13 for fair value, is based on exit price. Okay. Now we'll see this definition in detail. See, here they are saying that market participants. This transaction is between the market participants. Okay, whom the market participant means who are they? So first one, market participants are buyers and sellers in the principal market. The standard clearly says they are market participants are the buyers and sellers in an active market, or you can say principal market. Okay, we'll see the main points about market participants. First one, these market participants are independent of each other. They are willing parties who are willing to take part in the transaction, and next one, they are knowledgeable and they have all information about the assets and the liability in which they are dealing in. Next one, they are not under the compulsion or force of anyone. That means they are motivated but they are not forced into the transaction. See the points given here. Market participants are knowledgeable third parties. They are independent of each other. They are willing parties. They are motivated but not forced into the transactions. Okay, next point about market participant is they are not having or facing any problems like cash flow shortages. See, they are not suffering from any cash flow shortages. The reason is because if they have cash flow problems, sometimes they may be forced to accept whatever price that is offered for the asset or the liability. So they should not be in any problem. That means they are not under any compulsion to accept the prices. Okay, so these are the information about market participants. And next point also, when pricing the asset or the liability, usually market participants will take into consideration before determining the fair value. They will be taking into account the condition of the asset and the location of the asset. Third one is there any restrictions on use or sale of the asset? These 3 points usually the market participants will take into consideration, and it is said in IFRS 13 that even when entities are measuring the fair value of the assets and liabilities, even they have to take into consideration the condition, location, and if there is any restriction on the use and sale of the asset and the liabilities. Okay. Next one, so we know here the definition, what they mean by market participants. And next one, the points they will be taking into consideration when they determine the fair value of the assets and the liabilities. Okay, next one, you should also know that because market participants are buyers and sellers in an active market or principal market. So what they mean by active market? Okay, here they are saying that active market is the one in which transactions for the asset or liability is taking place with sufficient frequency and volume. Okay, that is an active market. That means the transactions are taking place quite often and with great volume. See here, in which transactions for the asset or liability takes place with sufficient frequency and volume, so that we have all information about pricing. We have all information on pricing on an ongoing basis. So using this information, fair value can be determined. So this is active market. Okay, you can even say it's a principal market. Okay, it's mainly the principal market where great volume of activity is taking place. Okay, after knowing about this active market, the point here is the definition gives more importance, or you can say when the entities are fixing the fair value of the asset or the liability, the measurement should be market based measurement. That means you have to consider all the information, everything from market participants' point of view, not from entities' point of view. See, it should not be entity specific measurement. It should be market based measurement. Okay, the measurement should be market based. So they are giving examples here. And why they are saying it should be from market participants' point of view. See, suppose two entities are having identical assets. When they are having identical assets, the fair value of these assets should be the same for both the entities. So further they are saying that it should be, because when it will be the same for both the entities, the fair value, only when it is measured by taking into account the views and the whatever from the market participants point of view, not from the entity point of view, because entities may be using the asset for different purpose, or how they are intending to use the asset may differ in future. Because of that, there is a chance that the fair value may differ. So they are telling we should not see from entity's point of view when you measure the fair value. We should only see from the market participants' point of view. Okay. So you have to know all these points from the fair value definitions. First about market participants. See here, next about active market. What is active market? It is a market where transactions for the asset and the liability occur frequently, and you can also say the volume is more. Next one, fair value is market based and not entity specific. Okay. And they are telling when we determine the fair value, see this point. When determining the price at which the asset would be sold or the price that will be paid to transfer a liability, Observable data from active market should be used where possible. Observable data are most reliable information. The information we are getting from active market is most reliable. That is observable input or observable data. Okay, so all these are about fair value. Next point is as per IFRS 13, if there is no active market, then entities can use valuation techniques to measure the fair value. So we'll see the valuation techniques given are three techniques, valuation techniques that we are giving, or you can even say the three different approaches that can be used to determine the fair value. First approach is market approach. Okay, here they mean by the market approaches the prices whatever that are available in the market based on the recent sales can be taken. This is market approach. Okay. Second approach is cost approach. Cost approach is it is replacement cost. That is amount that is to be paid to replace that particular asset or the liability. In case you are buying that asset or the liability new, how much cost is to be paid. That is replacement cost. This is cost approach. Second one is income approach. In income approach, the entity will be estimating the cash inflows and outflows from that particular asset that they'll be earning in the future period, and all these cash flows will be discounted and they'll find one present value. That is income approach. Okay, so these are the various approaches which are recommended by IFRS 13 to determine the fair value of the asset or the liability. Usually we use these approaches when there is no active market, where the prices are not readily available. See, first approach is market approach, where we can use the prices and other relevant information from the market transactions for identical or similar assets. So in market approach, yes, you have the information from the active market. Second one, cost approach. Cost approach is the amount that is required to replace a particular asset. That is replacement cost. Income approach is forecasting the cash inflows and outflows and discounting them to present value. That is income approach. So any one of the approach can be used. Okay. And next point, when we use any of these approaches to determine the fair value of the asset or the liability, we need inputs. Here what they mean by input is the information assumption that needs to be used to determine the fair value. Okay. For this again, IFRS 13 gives guidance, and it says that the input can be input that we are using in the valuation techniques are classified into three levels. IFRS 13 is classifying the inputs we are using in the valuation techniques into three levels. So inputs here, they mean the information, and you can also say the assumptions. Okay, information, assumptions, whatever they need for the valuation techniques to determine the fair value. Okay, what are these three levels or three classifications we will see. Okay, first level is level 1. Level 1 input, that is level 1 information, is the most reliable information, because this is the information what we are getting from active market for identical assets and the liabilities. Okay, these are quoted price in active market for identical assets and liabilities that the entity can access at the measurement date. Okay, no? Quoted prices for identical assets in active markets for identical assets in active markets which entity can get at the measurement date. Okay, this is level 1, and this is considered to be the most reliable information, and you can also say this is called observable inputs. Okay, then second category is level 2. Again, level 2 inputs are also observable, but these are not level 1 inputs. So what are they? These are inputs from active markets but not identical assets, similar assets. See, these are quoted prices from active markets for similar assets. Next one is quoted prices for identical assets but the market is not active, less active market. Next one is observable inputs which are not prices. That means these are quoted interest. Okay, So first one, an active market but similar assets. Second one is identical assets, less active market. Third one is quoted interest. These are level 2 inputs. Okay, then in case if they don't get level 1 information, then they have to take level 2 informations. Third one is level 3. Level 3 is totally unobservable inputs. Okay, that means this is not available, it's only estimation, management judgment. So these are forecasts about entities' cash flows. Okay, this could include cash or profit forecast from the assets, whatever cash flow they are expecting to generate, that will be taken for determining the fair value. Okay, this they are telling that these are unobservable inputs, so the use of this should be minimized. They should give low priority to level 3 inputs. Okay, highest priority should be given to level 1 inputs. See here, priority is given to level 1 inputs and low priority to level 3 inputs. Okay, so this is the guidance given in IFRS 13. So these are 3 classification of inputs which has to be used in the valuation techniques. Inputs are the information. So observable inputs are the most reliable information. Level 1 input is the most reliable information. This is quoted prices for identical assets in active markets. Level 2 is same thing. It's active market but not identical assets, similar assets. And you can also say it can be identical assets but the market is less active. Level 3 is totally unobservable. The entity should try to minimize the use of level 3 information and maximize the use of level 1, and then next priority should be to level 2. Okay, all these are the points about how to determine the fair value of an asset or a liability. Next point, when we are talking about markets, the standard identifies 2 markets. Okay, I think there is some examples before we see the different markets we have. See here, IFRS 13 gives the examples of inputs. See, level 1 is active market where quoted prices are readily available. So you can say this example is London Stock Exchange. Okay, equity shares in a listed entity, no need to adjust the prices. We can take the prices as it is. Unadjusted quoted price. Next one, level 2. Building held and used. So here they are telling it is level 2. Maybe you won't find identical building, but definitely similar building price can be obtained. So here it is price per square meter for the building from observable market data, such as observed transactions for similar buildings in similar locations. Okay, so they can obtain the price of the similar building and it can be adjusted. They given 3 points. No, one is the prices should be adjusted for the condition of the building. Next one is location of the building. Third one is there any restrictions on its use? So adjustments can be made for these points and then the fair value can be determined. Last one, level 3, cash generating unit. So when they want to know what is the fair value of the cash generating unit, they can only make estimation of the cash flows that will be generated from it in the future period and find present value of that. Okay, yeah, there is texture understanding 1. Texture understanding 1, B. B has an investment property that is measured at fair value. This property is rented out on short-term leases. The directors wish to fair value the property by estimating the present value of net cash flows that the property will generate for B. They argue that this best reflects the way in which the building will generate economic benefits for B. This is from B's point of view. Building is unique, although there have been many sales of similar buildings in the local area. Discuss whether the valuation technique suggested by the directors complies with IFRS. Yeah, we have already studied that when they measure the fair value, it should be from market participants' point of view. That is market specific measurement, not entity specific measurement. Next guidance given in IFRS 13 is they must try to maximize observable inputs. That is, most reliable information should be used. In that way, if you see level 1 inputs are the most reliable, then second priority should be given to level 2. They should give low priority, or they have to make minimum use of level 3 inputs. So you have to say that here B is, after writing the general points, the general guidance given IFRS 3, you have to relate those points to the information given in the scenario. Here they are saying that B wants to take the cash flows that will be generated from the property because that best reflects the way in which the building will be used by them. So they are trying to apply entity specific measurement. That is not allowed. It should only be market based measurement. So again they must try to maximize the use of level 1 or level 2. Level 3 should not be, level 3 they should give low priority. Okay, so as such you have to say that it's given that there have been many sales of similar buildings. That means their level 2 information, level 2 inputs are readily available. So they have to use level 2 inputs and make adjustments for the 3 points we have seen, no? Conditions, location and right of use. So all these points should be considered for adjusting the level 2 price, and they have to determine the fair value of their building. So like that your answer should be written. Okay, so basically you have to know the general guidance given in IFRS 13. Okay, next one. We have already seen that this is prices should be from the market point of view, and market participants are the buyers and sellers in an active market. Here they mean active market is principal market. Okay, see, price received when asset is sold may differ depending on the specific market where the transaction occurs. So usually IFRS 13 says that fair value should be measured by reference to the principal market. If principal market is not there, then they can use most advantageous market. Okay, first we will see what they mean by the term principal market. Principal market means a market where greatest volume and level of activity is taking place for the asset or liability. See here, it is a market with greatest activity. Okay, greatest volume and level of activity is for the asset and the liability. Okay, and second point, when you say principal market, the entity should be able to access that principal market. Okay, entity must be able to access principal market at the measurement date. Okay, yeah, then they can go by the principal market. But suppose there is no principal market, or you can say there is principal market but entity cannot access the principal market. What to do in that case? Then they have to go by the most advantageous market. Okay, what they mean by the term most advantageous market? Most advantageous market is a market that will maximize the amount that would be received for selling the asset and minimize the amount that will be paid to transfer the liability. But this price should be after taking into account all the costs like transaction and transportation costs. This is a net price. See, it's given here. Where is most advantageous market? See, if there is no principal market, the fair value is measured by reference to the prices in most advantageous market. What is most advantageous market? The one that maximizes the net amount received from selling an asset or minimizes the net amount paid to transfer the liability. When they say net amount, after all expenses. Okay, expenses here are transaction cost and transportation cost. Okay, we'll minus all the costs, but finally when we fix a fair value, this here we will not consider the transaction cost. We only take the price minus transportation cost. This is finally when we determine what is a fair value. Otherwise, when we check the price in the most advantageous market, that is net amount after all expenses. Clear, no? See, transaction cost will play a role in deciding which market is most advantageous. However, this fair value is not adjusted for transaction cost because they are a characteristics of the market rather than the asset. So when you check which is the most advantageous market, you have to take the net figure. But finally you go by determine the fixed value or measure the fixed value. That should be without transaction cost. That is a point here. Okay. Yeah, we will see this question. Test your understanding too. An asset is sold in two different active markets at different prices. An entity enters into transactions in both markets and can access the price in those markets for the asset at the measurement date. Okay, market 1, they are saying it is $21 after all expenses. Market 2, 22. Okay, first point is you have to identify, see here they are asking what is the fair value if 1 is the principal market. Okay, we will do that. If 1 is the principal market, then yeah, what do we say for that? If principal market means market where there is what do we say? Market where greatest volume and level of activity for the asset or liability is taking place. That is principal market. Then second point, the entity should be able to access the principal market. As such, we will be taking the price of $21 as fair value. Okay, if the entity could access and if there is a principal market, the price will be 21. But the main point we shouldn't forget, when we fix the fair value finally, we should not take the transaction cost. So as such, we'll be taking only price minus transportation cost. That will come to $24. So you have to say that in principal market the price is 21, but when we finally measure the fair value at the measurement date, it should be only $24, as transaction cost is the it's not a characteristics of the asset, it is a characteristics of the market, so we should not include it. Okay, this should be our answer. Second one, if no principal market can be determined. Okay, if no principal market can be determined, we have to take the most advantageous market. To know which is the advantageous market, the market where the entity can get maximum price for selling their asset and minimum price for settling the liability. Okay, this is an asset. So where they are getting the highest price in market 2. When you check which market gives highest price, you take the price net after all expenses. Okay. And second point what you have to say is, finally when we fix the fair value, we should take the fair value without the transaction cost. So as such, it is $25 minus $2 transportation cost. This will come to $23. Okay, that's it. So you can explain what is principal market, what is most advantageous market, and how you determine the most advantageous market, the maximum price after all expenses. So as such, market 2, but finally the fair value is without the without the transaction cost, so it is $23. So fair value should be taken at $23. Okay, that's all about principal market and most advantageous market. Then how to value the non-financial assets, we will see that separately. So here so far how you have to study this fair value IFRS 13 is, first you should know the definition of definition of fair value given in IFRS 13. Okay, definition of fair value. Then you should also know that IFRS 13 do not apply to which standards. It do not apply to IFRS 2 and they said IFRS 16 not applicable. Okay, IFRS 13. Next one, from the definition, the details, what they mean by market participants and the other points about market participants. Market participants take into consideration the condition of the asset, location of the asset, restrictions on its use. All these points you have to know. Next point, when they determine the fair value, it should be market based measurement, not entity specific measurement. That point also you should take into consideration. Okay. Next one, that point also you should write in the scenarios if necessary. Next one, you have to write, you should know what is meant by active market. Okay. And if there is no active market, the entity can use different valuation techniques. And IFRS is given the different approaches that can be used for measuring the fair value. Those approaches you have to know. One is market based approach, next one is cost approach, third one is income approach. You should know each one of them. Market based approaches, the quoted price available in the market can be used to determine the fair value. Cost based approach is basically what is the cost that will be paid to acquire the asset and which is a replacement cost. Income approach is forecasting the income that will be generated from that particular asset. 3 techniques they can use depending on whichever is suitable. Next one, they are saying that when we use these valuation techniques, any of the valuation techniques, the entities need input. Input here means the information and assumption they should consider when determining the fair value. This information is given in 3 levels. Level 1, Level 2, Level 3. Level 1 is active market identical assets where prices are publicly available, and level 1 inputs are most reliable information. These are called observable inputs. Level 2, identical assets but less active market, and you can also say for level 2, similar assets in active market. If no level 1 information, the entity should go for level 3. This is also observable inputs. If both level 1 and level 2 is not there, they should go for level 3. Level 3 is just forecast, so these are estimations. Entity should give low priority in using level 3, and they have to minimize the use of level 3 information because these are unobservable. Level 1 and level 2 are considered as most reliable, and entity should try to maximize the use of level 1, level 2 inputs. Okay. Then 2 markets, principal market and most advantageous market. So you should know what they mean by principal market and what they mean by most advantageous market. Okay, that's all. This is how you have to know IFRS 13. Okay. Yeah, next one we will see how to value the non-financial assets.